Today I would like to teach you how to do synthetic division with the following example of x to the fourth plus 2x cubed minus 3x squared plus 2x plus 6 all being divided now by x plus 3. So how do we do this? First thing, set up your synthetic division table. And the way I like to do that is first I'm going to look at my dividend, which is the term to the left of that division symbol. I'm going to look and find the highest power of x. I'm going to add 1 to that power, and that's going to be a total of 5 in this problem, and that's then going to tell me how many columns I'm going to need here inside of my table. All right? So what then I want to do is make sure that I have 5 terms in my dividend, and I do, okay? If you don't have it, if you don't have 5 terms, like pretend that this one's like missing, you go from x to the fourth, x cubed, and then you go to x, what you have to do is you have to add back in that x squared term, but just attach a 0 to it. Because 0 times anything is just going to be 0, and adding 0 to something is like you didn't add anything, right? So it's not going to affect the value, but what that will help you do is identify the coefficient of that term, okay? Now when you plug in the values, you got to make sure that you're going to plug them in decreasing order here. So the coefficient of your highest x term there was a 1, the next is a positive 2, the next is a negative 3, the next is a positive 2, and the last is going to be a positive 6. Great. Now that you've finished with your dividend, focus on your divisor, which is now the value to the right. What you're going to do is you're going to take that divisor of x plus 3, and you're going to set that simply equal to 0. You're going to solve this then for x, and what this will help you do is it will help you identify the value that will go here. Now, I don't care what this term is, as long as it is a linear function. In other words, if this is now squared, guess what? This whole technique isn't going to work. All right, that's a whole separate video. But as long as you have, in which you should be given, all right, linear functions, I don't care if there's a coefficient now in front of it. If it's like, 17x squared, it doesn't, 17x, excuse me, it doesn't really make a difference. You're going to follow the same procedure, okay? Whatever the value comes out to be, you plug it in. Now that you have your row fully filled out, this part is very simple. It's a simple set of procedures. Take your first coefficient, drop it straight down. That's why we have a red box here. You're not going to put anything in it. Then simply take this value, multiply it by the term on the outside, and you're going to plug that result into the next adjacent cell here. All right, so that's going to be now a negative 3, because negative 3 times 1 is a negative 3. Then you're going to simply add the terms of this column together. Positive 2 and a negative 3 is a negative 1. Then repeat the process. Take this term, multiply it by the term on the outside. That's going to now be a positive 3. Plug it into the next adjacent cell. Add that together. You get a result of 0. That's fine. Take that value, multiply by that outside term. 0 times that outside term is going to be 0. Plug it into the next adjacent cell. Add the results of that column together. That's going to be a positive 2. Take that result, multiply by the outside value. That's going to be a negative 6 now. Plug it into the next adjacent cell. Add it to the value at the top, and that's then going to be a 0. And voila, synthetic division's over. Now you just have to keep in mind what these values represent. This is your remainder value. That's always going to be the value all the way to the right. This is your constant term, and then this is going to be your x coefficient. This is going to be your x squared coefficient, and then this is going to be your x cubed coefficient. Dot, 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 however many terms you have. If you have more than, 5 columns, then you would have had x to the fourth over here and x to the fifth. Hopefully you don't see that because it's just, there's really no point to it then once you start getting out that far. It's just a simple set of procedures that you're going to keep on repeating. So hopefully you don't see it, but if you do, at least you won't be lost. Now, what you have to do before you start writing out your quotient down here, okay, including the remainder, is you have to go back to your divisor and just check one thing. Whatever the coefficient, and not even check, I actually want you to perform this out. You're going to note and look at and identify the coefficient of your x term in the divisor. Whatever it is, in this problem it's a 1. Whatever it is, you're going to take that 1 and you're going to divide it into every single value here except for the remainder. Do not divide it into the remainder. Okay? Now, since it's a 1 in this problem, it doesn't do anything, right? Dividing something by 1 doesn't do anything. So that's sometimes why it's skipped over. But I don't want to skip over it because guess what happens if this becomes now a 2? Ooh, no big deal. I told you how to approach it. These are all going to be 2's now. So you divide everything by 2. So this would have been 1/2, this would have been negative 1/2, this would have been 0, and this would have been 1. Those then would have been your new coefficients. Okay? So since in this problem it's all a 1, it really doesn't do anything, so you can leave it alone. But I don't want you to forget about it. Hey, forget about it, huh? I'm from New York. Forget about it. I'm not really sure what kind of accent that is. That's like New York. That might have been a little bit of an Italian accent in there. Maybe Austrian? I don't really know. Anyway, what you're going to do now is simply write out your quotient now. So this is 1x cubed. Then minus 1x squared plus 0x. I'm going to write it in. Plus 2. Do not write plus 2c. That represents your constant term. And now plus your remainder. So whatever value you have here, if it was a negative sign there, this would have been then a negative. Whatever your value is, take that value. In this case, it's 0. And divide it then by whatever your divisor is. X plus 3. Okay? Now once you set this up fully, okay, the problem can change on you somewhat, but you won't be lost. Now you can simplify everything. So you don't have to write the 1s in front, right? You can just write x cubed now, minus x squared. You don't have to write this because it's just 0, plus 2. And then you don't have to write this because that's just 0. So guess what, ladies and gentlemen? There's your quotient. So in other words, when you take your dividend and you divide it by your divisor, you get your quotient. God, I love mathematics. Thanks so very much for tuning in. If you love it too, like and subscribe, because we got thousands of videos out there for you. And by the way, not only math, but if you love chemistry and you love physics as well, guess what? We got you covered there too. And we have thousands of problems out there, specific problems solved. So we can help you through whatever class you're taking. Well, as long as you're taking math, chemistry, or physics at the moment, but guess what? We got a ton more coming. So we'd love to help you. Check out our channel. We want to help you do well. We want to help you to get where you got to go. As long as it's kind of school related. Because if you have to go to like the dentist or something, I don't know exactly how I might be able to help in that respect. But yes. Thanks for watching.